Hey guys, welcome back to Unfiltered, where logic is optional and chaos is a lifestyle. I'm your host, Midwest Mama, and today we're diving headfirst into the kind of madness that makes you question reality itself. And what better time for some full blown absurdity than the week when the seasons officially shift? That's right, spring is finally here, bringing longer days, unpredictable weather, and an excuse for everyone to pretend they have their lives together. But don't worry, we're keeping it just as unhinged as ever. And speaking of unhinged, let's take a moment of appreciation for the brave, visionary mind out there who looked at a salmon and thought, what if we slathered its reproductive juices on our faces? Because, yes, the salmon sperm facial is a real thing. Apparently, the beauty industry is so hell bent on defying time that we've now reached the stage of rubbing fish jizz into our pores. But let's not forget the real MVPs of this operation, the fine folks whose actual job it is to harvest this miracle goo. Imagine coming home after a long day, washing your hands, probably twice, and explaining to your family that you spent another shift milking fish for skincare science. Humanity, you've outdone yourself. So, as the fresh spring air rolls in, take a deep breath and ask yourself, do you really hate aging enough to rub salmon sauce on your face? If so, congrats, I guess. Now, let's get weird. March 20th, 1900. Nikola Tesla's wireless power patent. Tesla, the electricity wizard, the mad scientist that every villain in a lab coat secretly wishes they were. In 1900, Tesla dropped his wireless power patent like it was the hottest mixtape of the century. He was sitting there like, yo, what if you didn't need wires to power stuff? Meanwhile, Edison was over here like, but wires make me money, bro. Fast forward 125 years, and we're still treating chargers like rare Pokemon cards, hoarding them, fighting over them, and crying when we lose one behind the couch. But imagine if Tesla's wireless energy grid actually worked. No tangled earbuds, no wall hugging at airports like tech starved zombies, just straight up free floating wireless juice from the ether. But no, some corporate overlord said, let's make people buy chargers forever. Peak capitalism, baby. We could have been zapping power through the air like sci fi wizards, but here we are, wrapping cables around our forearms like electrical bondage enthusiasts. Thanks, Tesla. We still salute you. You were just too punk rock for this timeline. March 21st, 1999. Bertrand Piccard and Brian Jones, Balloon Madness. Picture this: two dudes wake up one morning and decide, screw airplanes, let's float around the world in a balloon like some Victorian fever dream. No autopilot, no GPS whispering sweet directions, just vibes, wind, and the looming threat of a fiery crash. Picard and Jones went full YOLO before it was even a thing, literally strapping themselves to a glorified picnic basket and letting Mother Nature take the wheel. And they made it. No Wi Fi, no tray tables, just hanging out at 30,000 feet, hoping a goose didn't take them out like a midair final destination scene. Imagine telling people at parties, yeah, I flew around the earth in a hot air balloon, while some guy next to you is flexing about his Southwest rewards points. This is the OG hold my beer adventure. Full respect. March 22nd, 1895. The Lumiere brothers accidentally ruin our free time. August and Louis Lumiere probably thought, let's make people stare at a wall showing moving pictures and call it a day. Boom, movies were born. Their first film, a riveting 50-second thriller titled People Walking Out of a Factory. The plot? People walking out of a factory. Edge of your seat stuff, right? The audience probably lost their collective minds like they just witnessed aliens land. Now, here we are, decades later, binge watching trashy reality shows and cult documentaries about murderers with weird haircuts. Thanks to the Lumiere brothers, we can rot away hours of our lives watching some guy on Netflix burn toast or try to marry a lamp. They cracked open Pandora's box of storytelling, and inside of it was 90% garbage and 10% cinematic gold. Bless them. March 23rd, 1840. Draper and the blurry moon selfie. John William Draper squints through his telescope in 1840 and says, I'm going to snap a pic of that glowing cheese wheel in the sky. And he did. Kinda. The result? A photo of the moon that looks like someone sneezed on the lens. But hey, for 1840, that blurry mess was revolutionary. This was humanity's first moon picture. And like all first photos, it was awkward, slightly embarrassing, and we've been trying to perfect it ever since. Fast forward to now, and we're out here slapping HDR filters on lunar landscapes, while half the population still can't take a decent selfie in their bathroom mirror. But Draper kicked off their obsession. Snapshots of the moon, space, our dogs, ourselves. Thanks, Draper, for unlocking humanity's collective narcissism and paving the way for the cursed world of Instagram influencers. March 24th, 1882. Robert Koch tells tuberculosis to fuck off. In the 1800s, tuberculosis was the Grim Reaper's favorite party trick. People were just randomly coughing themselves into an early grave, and no one knew why. Robert Koch strolled into the scientific saloon like a German Sherlock Holmes, grabbed his microscope, and went, "Aha! There's your bastard." He found the actual bacteria causing tuberculosis and flipped the script on medical history. Before that, they thought tuberculosis came from spooky fog or being too sensitive for Victorian society. Like, oh, poor Edith fainted again. Must be the cursed air. No, Koch was like, it's germs, you fucking idiots. His work led to saving millions of lives, and yet still it took humanity forever to go, maybe soap is a good idea. Now, TB is still hanging around in some places, but at least we're not telling people to just try the mountain air and hope for the best. Cheers, Koch, for dragging medicine out of the dark ages. I feel like I've been waiting my whole entire life to say cheers, Koch. March 25th, 1857, the Sun's first mugshot. Warren De La Rue stepped up to the plate with a camera and aimed it to the sun like an absolute lunatic. Back in 1857, everyone else was probably telling him, "Don't stare at the sun, dumbass." But Warren was built different. He photographed the solar eclipse, probably while squinting so hard that his ancestors felt it. This was the moment we collectively stopped burning out our eyeballs and started immortalizing celestial events like pros. Now, everyone's out here wearing flimsy eclipse glasses from gas stations or taping together cereal boxes, while Warren was already ahead of the curve, risking corneal destruction for science. This is the guy who said, "Risk blindness? Worth it." Legend. March 26, 1994. Ida and Dactyl. The cosmic power couple astronomers peered through their fancy scopes and were like, "Hold up, that asteroid has a moon?" Enter 243 Ida and its little companion Dactyl, the Bonnie and Clyde of the asteroid belt. While we're down here losing our minds over bad Wi Fi and pineapple on pizza, these two cosmic freeloaders are vibing together, orbiting in the void like it's no big deal. Like, seriously, how rude is that? Earth is still wrestling with climate change and reality TV, and these two chunks of rock are out here playing celestial tag, free of charge, zero drama. It's a love story written in space debris. Meanwhile, humanity's biggest flex is sending billionaires into orbit for 10 minutes before they boomerang back down. Ida and Dactyl are just chillin'. No tickets, no spectacle, just eternal slow dancing through the solar system like cosmic badasses. And that was your weird science for this week. Now let's get into some weird history. March 20th, 1345, the Black Death and planetary panic. Picture it. Europe, 1345. A pandemic is sweeping through, and hygiene? Who needs it? People are dropping like flies, rats are partying with fleas, and no one knows that germs even exist. So, what do the scholars of the time do? Blame the stars, of course. Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars were all hanging out in Aquarius, which apparently meant cosmic disaster was just waiting to happen. Forget washing your hands. Let's blame the planets for their corrupt air. This stellar theory was far more fun than recommending a good old fashioned bath and some basic sanitation. So, as death looms over Europe, instead of introducing soap to the masses, medieval scholars took a cosmic view of the situation. If you couldn't point to your diet or hygiene habits as the culprit, why not blame the universe itself? It just makes sense to blame a burning ball of gas billions of miles away for your rat infestation problem. Meanwhile, the real villain was lurking on the backs of those rats. Yersinia pestis, the bacteria that would wipe out nearly half of Europe's population. But hey, at least we got a cosmic blame game out of it. March 21st, 1844, the first apocalypse that didn't happen. Every so often, someone comes along to tell us that the end of the world is near. In 1844, it was William Miller, a farmer turned preacher with a penchant for numbers and the Bible. He decided that March 21st was the day Jesus was going to return. And so, March 21st became the perfect day to completely ruin all your worldly possessions. People sold their homes, their farms, their furniture. Hell, they probably even sold their pets because they were ready. Ready for the rapture, ready for Jesus to take them home. But what did they get? Absolutely nothing. No divine intervention, no heavenly chariots, just a lot of people awkwardly standing around in white robes like an exclusive cult gathering gone wrong. And did Miller apologize? Did he admit he was a little off with his calculations? Of course not. He just moved the date and turned his failure into the foundation of the Seventh day Adventist Church. It's one thing to be wrong, it's another thing to make a religion out of it. March 22nd, 1872. Illinois pushes for gender equality. Kind of. Let's give Illinois a round of applause, though, shall we? In 1872, they passed a law aimed at gender equality in the workplace. It's almost adorable. You can imagine them patting themselves on the back, proud of their progressive new rule. Unfortunately, in reality, this just meant that women could work in certain jobs as long as they stayed in their lane. Sure, they could be teachers, nurses, or factory workers, but nothing too groundbreaking. And pants? Definitely off limits. Because in 1872, the true threat to society was women who wore pants. Everyone probably figured that women in pants was one giant step towards the collapse of civilization. Fast forward 50 years, and women might get the right to vote, but equality in wages? That's another century away. So, Illinois, thanks for trying, I guess. But maybe focus a little more on the equality part and a little less on what the women wear. March 23rd, 1066. Halley's Comet freaks everyone out. The sky is streaked with fire, and people are losing it. Enter Halley's Comet. A giant flaming rock in the sky can only mean one thing: doom, right? Who wouldn't freak out at a glowing object in the sky? Especially if you were living in an era where the concept of space was vastly misunderstood. It's like an ancient version of seeing a UFO. And naturally, this omen of doom coincided perfectly with William the Conqueror's invasion of England and the subsequent death of Harold II. But don't you dare try to tell these peasants that it was just a comet. The universe was clearly making a grand entrance to signal the beginning of the end. They weren't concerned about the actual army landing on their shores. No, it was the celestial event that had them in a tizzy. Who needs science when you can have superstition? Halley's Comet didn't just streak across the sky, it practically painted the word apocalypse across the heavens. March 24th, 1958. Elvis joins the army. Let's be real, the world lost its collective mind on March 24th, 1958. The king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, was drafted into the U.S. Army. Teenage girls everywhere screamed, cried, and probably passed out. I mean, Elvis in uniform? The horror. But for Elvis, it was a rite of passage. Sure, he swapped his dazzling jumpsuits for military fatigues, but you can't keep a king down. 2 years of boot camp, drills, and Sir this and Sir that. But don't worry, when he returned, he came back bigger than ever. Those hips weren't going anywhere. The world was able to catch their breath once he reemerged with a career revival so spectacular, it's like he never left. But for a brief moment, the king traded his stage for a barracks, and teenage girls everywhere mourned the temporary loss of their rock star. March 25th, 1882, the first public pancake demonstration. It was a simpler time. The birth of brunch culture began not with mimosas and avocado toast, but with a sizzling griddle, a spatula, and a dream. Welcome to the very first public pancake demonstration in New York. No flashy performances or over the top stunts. Just one guy flipping pancakes in front of a crowd of hungry spectators, anxiously awaiting the fate of the next flip. Would it stick? Would it land just right? And would syrup be the inevitable companion? The crowd held its breath. This wasn't just any demonstration. It was the beginning of a legacy, a spectacle. It was the start of an international obsession with breakfast foods that would eventually give us Instagrammable stacks of pancakes. So, move over, circus acts. The true performance of 1882 was someone making pancakes in front of a crowd, and we never looked back. March 26, 1484. William Caxton publishes Aesop's Fables. Forget motivational Instagram quotes and self help gurus. In 1484, William Caxton was the original influencer when he published Aesop's Fables, giving the world a chance to learn life lessons from talking animals. A tortoise who wins the race by being slow and steady? Genius. A fox teaching us about jealousy and sour grapes? Priceless. A lion letting a mouse go, only for the mouse to later save him? Classic. Thanks to Caxton's printing press, these ancient fables became immortalized for the masses, spreading wisdom far beyond their original context. Today, we're all out here trying to manifest success or keep our chakras aligned. But in the end, maybe we just need a reminder that sometimes the best lessons come from the simplest sources, like a tortoise. Thanks, William. The ancient wisdom has never been more relevant, especially when dealing with our daily frustrations. And that's all for this week's history section. Let's move on to some obscure holidays. March 20th was Alien Abduction Day. Forget about Earth Day. Who cares about saving this planet when you could be leaving it altogether? Today is all about the ultimate escape route, alien abduction. Imagine the bliss. One moment you're texting a friend about how you're literally out of coffee, and the next, bam, you're getting zapped up into a UFO by some curious extraterrestrials who are way too interested in your digestive system. Maybe they're just fascinated by how we humans keep functioning on nothing but caffeine, or maybe they're looking for a couple of test subjects. Either way, prepare for an intergalactic adventure like no other. Picture it. Some strange, greenish humanoid offers you a probing. And let's be real, the probing part is basically mandatory. It's not like they're going to just casually take a sample of your DNA and call it a day. They want to know every single thing about us, our secrets, our fears, and maybe even the best conspiracy theories. Will they give you the universe's secrets in return, or toss you back like an old sock after they're done with you? Either way, at least you won't be on Earth anymore. So grab your tinfoil hat, pack a snack, because who knows, you could be up there for days, and brace yourself for a day that could send you spiraling across the cosmos, or at least make you realize that life on Earth is overrated. March 21st, World Poetry Day. The one day a year when it's socially acceptable to wear a beret, sip overpriced coffee, and construct painfully profound lines about your inner turmoil. World Poetry Day, where angst meets form and everyone pretends to understand metaphor and rhyme. This is your chance to recite cryptic verses about your coffee cup, reflecting the endless void of your existence. Don't forget to drop a line or two about how the universe just doesn't get you, while everyone around you checks their phones and wonders if it's socially acceptable to leave. Bonus points if you can work in references to something suitably deep and dark, like Nietzsche, Sartre, or the color black. Bonus double points if you make your audience uncomfortable with the raw truth about the emptiness of existence, and then pretend to be surprised when they don't get it. Today, you're not just anyone. You're a tortured poet clinging to your artistic soul in a world that wants you to care about taxes and bills. So whether you're jotting down your feelings on a napkin or performing it for an audience of 3, remember, you're not just writing poetry, you're forging your own tragic legend. You're an intellectual, an enigma, a god of verse. Yes, it's basically a rite of passage into the artsy underworld. March 22nd, National Goof Off Day. Yay! It's time to stop pretending like you've got your life together and fully embrace the art of doing absolutely nothing. National Goof Off Day is your chance to finally cancel those meaningless meetings, ignore the ridiculously long to do list, and just slide into the abyss of laziness. Today, you're not working hard, you're working smart, which means doing exactly zero productive things. Got a pile of emails to respond to? Shoot off some half baked answers with just enough buzzwords to make it sound like you're actually engaged. Let's circle back. Synergy, pivot, throw those words out like confetti. You will get through the day with nothing accomplished and still somehow feel like you nailed it. Want to feel like you're doing something important? Start binge watching a show you've been meaning to watch. Those 12 hours are gone, and you have learned absolutely nothing. Today, the goal is simple. If you're not actively doing nothing, are you even really goofing off? March 23rd, National Chia Day. Time to get on the health bandwagon and sprinkle a little chia on everything. Because who isn't obsessed with these tiny nutrient packed seeds? National Chia Day isn't about knowing what the hell they do, it's about pretending you do. So go ahead, throw some chia in your smoothie, sprinkle it on your fries, or add it to your cereal. Who's to say what goes best with these magic beans of wonder? You're the expert here. Sure, maybe they help with digestion, but let's be honest. You probably just want to tell people you're eating clean. And if you've still got a chia pet lying around from the 90s, this is the day to bring it back to life. Go ahead, pour some water on it, watch it sprout. Maybe, just maybe, your chia expertise will extend to conversations that make you look like the world's healthiest person, even though you're probably just waiting for your next fast food run. After all, you're here to educate people on the superfood that is chia, without ever really caring what it does to your body. March 24th, National Cheesesteak Day. Put everything on hold. Today, your arteries are begging for a break, but your stomach is screaming for a cheesesteak. If you've never had one, this is the day to dive into the world of greasy, cheesy, beefy glory. Whether you're actually in Philly or pretending that some greasy shop around the corner is the real deal, you need to experience the magic of this sandwich. Cheese whiz or provolone. You'll have passionate strangers in line ready to educate you about the only correct option. Like your cholesterol is on the line or something. Cheesesteaks aren't just a meal, they're a rite of passage, an experience that forces you to question why you ever thought kale was the answer. You're going to bite into that hunk of meat and cheese, and for a second, the whole world will make sense. Yeah, you might regret it later when your pants are tight, but right now, it's the only thing that matters. If you cry a little when it's gone, it's totally okay. Just go get another one. No one's going to judge you. March 25th, National Pecan Day. You thought pecans were just for pies? Think again. Today is National Pecan Day, and we're giving these little nuts their rightful place in the spotlight. Pecans are not your average snack. They're the fancy cousin who shows up at Thanksgiving in a tailored suit, a glass of wine in hand, judging everyone else for their lack of taste. It's time to elevate your snacking game. Yeah, sure, you could toss them on your salad or your cookies, but the real move is to roast them, salt them, and eat them straight out of the bag while pretending you have a refined palate. This is their day to shine. So break out the fancy nut dish, throw some pecans in there, and elevate your day. It's a classy move. Don't overthink it. March 26th, Live Long and Prosper Day. Today is your chance to embrace the ultimate logic. Leave the nonsense behind and channel your inner Spock. It's Live Long and Prosper Day, and there's no better way to celebrate than by rolling your eyes at the unlogical people around you. Whether you're a hardcore Trekkie or just here to sound smarter than everyone else, today is all about reason and rationality. Give everyone the Vulcan salute and use every opportunity to drop knowledge bombs like, your argument is illogical, Captain, or the logical solution is to not talk to me right now. Get cozy in a spot where no one can disturb your logic, throw on a few episodes of Star Trek, and enjoy the comfort of knowing you're above all the drama. And remember, this is about living smart, living long, and making sure you keep your pizza sacred. No one's interrupting you during your me time, because today, logic reigns supreme. All right, guys, that's a wrap. It's Unfiltered, your weekly dose of the weird, the wacky, and the downright unhinged corners of history and science, designed to make your brain hurt in the best way possible. If you laughed, learned something bizarre, or found yourself questioning reality just a little bit more, then my job here is done. But don't just stop here. Keep the madness going. Make sure to follow me on all the things: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you like to get your daily dose of chaos. If you loved this episode, share it with a friend who needs a little more weirdness in their life, or send it to someone just to confuse them. It's a win win. And hey, if you really want to support the show, drop a rating, leave a review, or just scream my name into the void, but preferably on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, maybe YouTube. It helps to keep the weirdness alive. Don't forget to grab your tinfoil hat and buckle up, because next week's episode is guaranteed to melt at least 3 of your brain cells. If you really want to get involved, check out my Indiegogo campaign. I always try to link it in the description. Until then, stay weird, stay wild, and as always, keep questioning everything. Love you, bye.